fine, wild ones. It's Bernadette, and I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Friday, April 16th, 2021. Y'all, holy guacamole. I'm not even going to go through the whole Kickstarter, buy my tarot deck, subscribe to my YouTube channel, come see me on, gatheringofmystics.com. No, I'm going right. We are cutting to the chase, and that is this. So, on this waxing crescent moon day, crazily enough, Owl, as the moon card, has come inverted. Hence the owl shirt. I got the little owl signet ring on. I am all about the owl stuff today because I'm just, get out your paper and pencil because it's time to take notes, y'all. I'm going to start at the beginning and we're going to work our way through this crazy huge message from owl energy and the moon. I almost feel like it's more moon energy than owl energy. And, you'll have to decide with that, what you feel and how you receive this message and what it means for you. But dang. So, let's start with the moon. Actually, let's not do that. Let's start with Friday. So Friday symbolize the ruling planet is Venus. The ruling chakra is your throat chakra. It's all about the love. Who do you love? Who do you love? And how do you love them? And everything you communicate should come from a place of love. And when you think about what the waxing moon means, now scientifically, a waxing moon is, the sun starts moving closer to the new moon and it starts to become illuminated again. And a crescent appears. It's less than half illuminated until it waxes or grows bigger in the first quarter. So when you take a look at the spiritual meanings and symbolism of a waxing moon, it really represents your intentions, your hopes, your wishes. And after it's recharged under the new moon, then your intentions and desires are ready to be planted. And that's what this moon is all about. So if you start to add those two things together, Friday love, throat chakra, Friday love, throat chakra, now we're going to add the waxing crescent moon to it. It's what do you love? What do you want to set your intention for? And how do you want to communicate that? See how simple that is? Except for it's really not that simple because now you've got to throw in the moon card inverted. And when you take a look at the traditional tarot card meanings of the moon card inverted or reversed, it means that you have been fighting what you love for a long time. You've been fighting setting your intentions for what your desires are for a long time. And it stop. You got to stop. You just got to stop because it just hasn't been working for you. You're just exhausted. It's like, y'all, I feel awful about it, but I do. I make part of my living from people who are just so exhausted and depleted of living lives that was never meant for them to begin with. And they've made choices and they've gone down paths that they've tried their very hardest to make work, make themselves happy, keep the people around them happy. It is exhausting. It is exhausting. And they always come to me when they're exhausted. They're at the end of their rope and they don't know what to do. Or conversely, they come and they get a reading when they are absolutely sure they don't want to stay where they've been anymore. They're just not sure what to set their intentions about because you see, they've been out of touch with what it is that they love for so very long. And, I was actually telling this to a really dear friend of mine the other day. It's kind of more like my daughter, as a matter of fact. And I said, the universe works in kooky ways because we work in kooky ways. From the time I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor and a comic. And when I was doing comedy, it was, it just wasn't a time that women were so very accepted doing comedy. And lordy be, if you happen to be a chubby woman, good, great, googly moogly. Because if you weighed 500 pounds, then you were accepted. But if you were a twiggy and really good looking, you weren't accepted. So you kind of had to be middle of the road, maybe like the girl next door or whatever. And I'm not that either. So even when I was doing comedy and I went traipsing out to Hollywood, I'm an actor. I will act for you. They were like, okay, you're too old and you're too chunky and not pretty enough to play the ingenue, but you're not nearly large enough and you are kind of pretty, so you can't play the fat girl roles anyway. Because at that time, we're talking umpteen years ago, there just aren't that many roles for women of any size over a size 4 or 6, no joke. So that's why I went into management and never regretted a day of it. That's why I went to talent management and coaching and that kind of thing. But where I'm going with all of this is Acting was my first love. It always was. Comedy was my first love. I wanted to be Lucille Ball. I wanted to be Lucille Ball. I have mooned over her, and then Fran Drescher came along as the nanny, who's basically the Jewish incarnation of, of Lucille Ball. And now we have Sofia Vergara, who, I mean, she's the Spanish incarnation of Lucille Ball. You see where I'm going with this. So we were talking, me and the daughter I never had, and I said, oh my gosh. And this is why you should doubly listen. Oh my gosh, you should quadruply listen to this reading today. Holy cow. When I was at Arthur Findlay, oh my gosh. When I was at Arthur Findlay College a couple years ago, this amazing psychic medium, Angie, oh goodness me, over in England, Arthur Findlay College in England, Angie Morris, that's her name, Angie Morris. She did a reading on me. And she know anything about me. And she said, I feel like you're going to end up with your own TV show. And I said, well, I used to be in the entertainment business. That's probably where you're picking it up. She said, nope, I think you're going to end up with your own TV show. And she said, it's going to be worldwide. I'm like, okay, nice lady. She hit some other things that, but I just totally discounted that. I let it go into one ear and out the other, right? Hello, here I am on YouTube. It might as well be a TV show. It's a version of a TV show, and I've got people that tune in from all over the world. Thank you, by the way. It's super cool to know you guys are all over the world. And while I am not Sofia Vergara, right? Okay, or Lucille Ball, or Fran Drescher, I have gone back to my roots, which is acting. Although what you guys see truly is the real me. I mean, if you ever want me to actually be a different person for you, let me know and I will. But this is the real me. But you see where I'm going. It's almost like a talk show kind of thing. You get where I'm going with this. So here's how all of this loops back to you. You may very well come back to your first love. And in this moment, for this reading, for this time, it's the day of love. It's the day of the throat chakra. The day of the throat chakra. It sounds like the day the world let loose and told everybody what they really thought. Governments tumbled, families were divided. See how it all turns out. That could be the biggest horror movie of all time. The day of the throat chakra. Remember it. You heard it here first. So, give me a second. I got to get past that. So now we're tumbling into the waxing moon, which is about setting your intentions. And you may very well be setting your intentions for something you don't even know that you're doing, because you're trying to divest yourself of the life that you've been living that you don't want to live, or parts of it that you don't want to live. And, moving on up to my real life. And you may want to ascend and move up to where it was you really wanted to be way back when. It's a full circle thing, y'all. Okay. Now, I'm going to get more into the moon card, the traditional tarot card meanings of the moon card in just a second. But let me talk about owl for a second, because on the card in particular, this is a barn owl. If y'all don't know, this is a barn owl. And, those of us that are practical sat around and I don't know if anybody else did, but I thought this. Once upon a time when I was first introduced, really a jillion years ago when I was a kid, and told what a barn owl, the name of a barn owl, I thought, I wonder what they did before there were barns. And I think that really bears thinking about, because for umpteen gajillion years, there weren't barns. And then farmers built barns and owls went, hey, those are nicer digs. I'm moving on up. And that was it. They moved up to the east side to a deluxe barn in the sky. I'm moving on up. Yep, that, in my mind's eye, I can see an owl singing that with a microphone in the face and the whole 9 yards. Okay, so I told y'all I was in kooky theta state today. So, when I take a look at, once upon a time there weren't barns, and then there were barns, and owls, who are known as the wise old owl, went, hey, that looks drier and safer than this tree, or this fence post, or this whatever. And they said, pack your bags, kids. We're moving. And they did. That, to me, for you all, is an enormous sign. Like, enormous sign for you to pack your bags and move towards your intention, because the universe is pushing you there anyway. Why is the universe pushing you there? Because you are the universe and the universe is you. You are the owl is you. We're all connected. We're really all big one blob of the same energy, just out here having different experiences. That's what I believe. Can I prove it to you? No. It's what I believe. So that said, the thing that I am hearing from Al that is truly important is to be very, okay, I'm going to say it how it came in my head, and then I'm going to try to explain it. Your job in this moment, in this day, in this reading, in this lesson, this spiritual lesson, is to be identifiable by your words. And what that means is this. Oh, I wonder if that's going to harken back to, was it yesterday? Wednesday? I don't remember. Just in the last few days. There was a message about somebody telling you not the truth, not because they were necessarily trying to scam you, but they were trying to avoid embarrassment and shame and all that kind of blah, blah, blah. And this is about you being recognized by your voice, meaning if you say something, you want people to be able to take you at your word. If you've got an unusual voice, an unusual speaking voice, there's a different tonal quality to it. Stop being embarrassed about that, or use it to your strength. Like, because I was in the entertainment business, I know a lot of voiceover actors, and they can sound like this and they can sound like this, and they can do a million characters and this and that. And it's fun to use that to your advantage, not in an awful way, but in a way that's going to be helpful, whatever your true voice is, which really has more to do with you declaring your intentions and your dreams to the universe and then moving on them. Now, here's a little bit of a dichotomy of this message, which is I keep hearing from the owl, and then the owl is like, peace out. That's all I got to say. Go back to the moon card. You're supposed to go about this silently. And what that means is if you've got a plan to do anything, yes, get with your trusted advisory council and talk it over with them if you need to, whoever that may be, but don't be blabbing out into the world what you want to do. And the reason for that is other people are not going to be so judicious with their words. And you've already got a situation where you can feel the pull. You can feel the pull towards whatever this is, whatever this dream and intention is. You can feel it. It's been coming for some time. But when you have an overwhelming influx of information and opinions, it can be very difficult to hear yourself. And what that means is when you're trying to take in so many yays and nays, it can make you have whiplash. All of a sudden you're like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And that is not helpful. That's going to overwhelm you. So when you also take a look at, if you take a look at the 15 will-o-wisps that are in the moon card, that's a reference to the devil card. And the distractions can be pretty serious because what will normally happen is people will go back to what they're most comfortable with. And they teach this when anybody I've ever known that's been through like first responders or some kind of rescue program or whatever, one of the first things they're taught is that in times of panic, people will go back to what they're most comfortable with, what they know best, even if it's the most detrimental thing to them. So even though you might learn, let's say you're taking a swim class, because I hear about this a lot. I live in Florida, a lot of beaches around here, a lot of lifeguards. When I was younger, I used to hang out where the lifeguards hung out and had a cold one. So lifeguards will tell this all the time, that no matter how people are trained to swim, just like the common man, it won't matter. when they're drowning or they're in fear of drowning, they will latch onto the first thing that they see. They will forget their training. They will panic, and they will try to save themselves in any fashion, including putting the lifeguard under. So really smart lifeguards go through extra training and extra practice so that they can subdue somebody and get them in without drowning both of them. And that's what this is. That's what the inverted moon card is going to mean for you today. Don't let somebody drag you down because they're drowning and they see you trying to climb out of the barrel. There's a big thing about crabs about that. And it's a horrible story, but it's true. You know, you start to boil crabs. Ooh, it just makes me nauseous even saying that. And they're going to climb on top of each other trying to get out. Okay. It's that same thing. It's that same mentality. So don't let yourself get overwhelmed, even by the voices in your own head, because the truth of the matter is usually a lot more obvious and simple than you might imagine. And it is all about you moving silently toward it because you don't owe anybody else an explanation. I mean, and also you're going to be able to see through the dark. You know, I presume that you all know that owls they have uncanny hearing, but they have uncanny vision in the dark. I mean, they can see things move in the dark that I haven't seen any studies on this. I'll look it up later, but I got to believe it's akin to cats. It's got to be, and probably other animals. But you're going to be able through this time, even with the crescent or the waxing crescent moon, just that tiny sliver of that silvery, moonlit, iridescent, illuminating glow is going to be enough for you to just sit back and watch and see the intentions that you're being called to set, and being called to just get out of the shadows. Like, look into the shadows. You've got light enough there to see what you need to see, and then move out of the shadows. Of course, that sounds simple, right? A lot of things sound simple, and it may not be so simple, but you've got the moon tarot card that is come inverted for you so that you can work with that archetype. You can work with that energy. You can, if you're looking for healing crystals to work with for this, moonstone, lapis lazuli would be a really good one. And, go through these. Oh, it's almost like you're being asked to phase, just like the moon would phase. You're being asked to phase through this time so that you can get through and get to the undiscovered country of the collective subconscious using your instinct and intuition. And what that means is this. Again, I can't prove this to you, but it's what I believe. We don't come to these decisions that we're going to make. We don't come to these intentions we're going to set in a vacuum. Like, the whole universe is conspiring to help you succeed. So when you sit and you listen to the universe, you are listening to yourself, but you're listening to the entire collective consciousness. And I got news. The collective consciousness has an opinion about what you do. It really does. Because you're part of the collective unconscious, and you have an opinion about what goes on in this world and what goes on for people that you know and even people that you don't know. But the good news of all of this is, once you take that first step, like the little crayfish in the traditional tarot card, in the traditional moon tarot card, when you take a look at those meanings, once he takes that first step and he's committed, crayfish cannot back up. They don't scooter poop back. They might go to the right or the left or forward in Diagon Alley, but they can't scooter poop backwards. So when you emerge, it's going to be okay. And how you can know that is, even though the card is inverted, there's still the element that once the crayfish makes it past the wolf, which is our untamed nature, you see the wolf on one side, the dog on the other side, our more domesticated self. It's like that really represents the savage and the civilized aspects of your psyche. And when the card is inverted, you know that you're just going to have to make it past that. You're just going to have to be even more committed to make it past that. Or you could be the very voice in your head that's causing the confusion, much less what other people are saying. You may not have gotten quiet enough to be able to really hear what the love is that you're being called for. And remember, this is a circular thing. It's going to go all the way back to this is Friday. It's Venus, the throat chakra. What are you telling yourself? What are others telling you? It's a lot to unpack. So, man, I hope that was helpful. I really do. And again, man, this week has just been like, man, I feel like, what was that rapper? Heavy D. I feel like I'm rapping out some heavy stuff to y'all this week, but you know it's not me, right? I'm just a ventriloquist dummy. I just show up and put on my hair and do my makeup, or put on my makeup and do my hair, and show up and say what the spirit animals tell me to say. I've got the easiest job in the world, y'all. You should try it sometime. But I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, if you want to talk about it, go on over to gatheringofmystics.com. The registration is free. There's an amazing community over there, people who love to help each other and who are really talking serious stuff. They're not like, in other social media places where the scammers and the trolls and that are allowed. The forum is moderated, heavily moderated, not like, like we've got a heavy hand. It's not that. We're just always on the lookout to protect our members. Please, if you love Spirit, Totem, and Power Animals, please get on over to Kickstarter and get your book. Because I'm telling you, once Kickstarter is over, the price of that book is going up. Oh, yes, it is. I gotta cover. I keep saying this, but it's true. I gotta cover the uptick, the big uptick in paper prices. So there's that. And blah, blah, blah. Take your owl, take your moon, do your thing. And as always, one of the most important things, do good for animals and stay wild.